There's stuff happening all over the world. How has that affected the world, and has it affected the world to extent that we can't go back to the old normal?
You're now tuned into LWC Radio Off the Record.
Let's go. You ready, Lebs? Welcome to LWC Radio, where we talk about topics that are fresh, real, and relevant, and most importantly, off the record. Mac, welcome, Pastor Jack. Got Pastor Jack with me, Mac with me. Welcome to you guys. It's good to have you.
Yes,
good
nice to be here too.
Yeah.
Yes.
As you can hear, I am got a bit of a croaky voice, but I've been checked by the doctor and everything is fine. I'm all okay. Everything is negative, and so I might just have a little bit of a rough voice for you listening. So, but that won't deter anyone.
No,
I'm
off the record.
You guys are far enough that it won't affect
far
you.
enough that
Social
it won't affect you. So it's been a good week. Mac, you been well?
I've been well, hey?
Pastor Jack,
Can't
you been
complain.
well?
Yeah, well, I'm well, thank you.
Just say I'm not built for winter, but yeah, that's another story for another
we
day.
moved fully into winter. You can see we're wearing nice jackets, warm jackets.
Yeah.
Most importantly, we haven't even welcomed Lebo.
Yes.
Lebo, can we just have a welcome there?
Yes,
We're
hello,
going to come to
Lebo.
Lebo for the first time in LWC Radio.
Yeah.
Welcome, Lebo. It's good to have you with. We thought we'd show you a bit behind the
popping,
scenes
Lebo?
and show you what Lebo's all about today. We've got an exciting episode. We've got a special announcement that's going to be happening at the end of the show. And so you're going to want to make sure that you stay to listen for that announcement.
Yes.
It's something that's going to affect LWC and the show going forward.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Our
Awesome.
future.
You know, we're going into, we're sitting here recording and we just praying that there's no
Load shed.
load shedding that's going to take place. I'm getting confused with all these things. It's lockdown level 2 that we move into, Mac.
Yeah.
And then we have load shedding level 2 the next day.
Yeah.
So it seems like
Which one,
ESCOM and Corona or
Are
the
working hand in
president
hand
are
with their
working hand in
levels.
hand
Yeah.
with their
Yeah.
levels. And
in,
so
in partnership.
they're in partnership. So
They lockstepping their movements, make sure they reach the same
Yeah.
level at the
so
same
we just
time.
hope that this show keeps recording while
Yes.
we're chatting to you and no electricity goes out. For those of you who don't know what load shedding is,
Yes.
it's when the government shuts our power off for a certain amount of hours just to save on energy, and it's not
It doesn't
fun.
always tell us about it.
And
Yes.
doesn't always tell us, so we don't actually know when we're going to be off,
Yeah.
but we know that we're gonna go off.
We may have to send this message by pigeons.
Yeah.
And off the record, nobody steal power cables, please. Because that's the other reason we lose power.
Yeah.
One
True.
of the main causes.
Yes.
Well, it's exciting, Pastor Jack. You well?
I am. Thank you for having me on again.
Yeah, it's good to have you as our special guest. And
Okay.
it's
Always good to be a special guest.
Yeah.
yeah, no, we excited, and you're going to be part of the announcement that
Yeah.
we're going to
Yeah.
make later, and so you're going to want to stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
But we're just going to talk about something that we thought was relevant for today and for you listening at home, and most importantly, if you are listening and you're sitting there with your phone, just leave us a comment. Let us know what your thoughts are. It's always nice to look back and say, hey, we really enjoyed that, guys. I know, Mac, I feel encouraged.
Yeah, I'm always encouraged. Yes, I'm always encouraged.
It's always nice to know because we don't always hear
Yes.
or see. We're the ones just saying, well, let's talk about this.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I enjoy
and
the
hoping
comments.
that the audience enjoy it.
No, actually, some of you have been commenting really well, so thank you. In fact, we've got some few loyal commenters out
Yeah.
there, so it's encouraging to see
Faithful
those comments.
commenters.
Yes, so as soon as the show goes up and you see that comment, some of you just saying hello, so that encourages us. So
Yeah,
it's nice to
definitely.
know that you're looking forward to seeing us. So
Yeah, no, let us know, and
Yes.
we will read them. And I think this
Yeah.
week, Mac, why don't we make it our goal to personally comment on everyone's comment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're going to
That'll
do
be
that.
great.
So me and Mac will
Yeah.
have a conversation with you in the comment section.
Yes.
And so
And if we forget, we'll just say, well, you were off the record. No, we're
Off the
kidding. We'll
record.
reply to everyone.
So we're going to go and dive into a topic that's affecting the whole world.
Yeah.
And especially since this pandemic has taken place, it's not the first pandemic to have taken place. We had another pandemic 100 years ago, which was the flu. What's it? The Spanish flu.
Yeah.
And now 100 years later, we have another pandemic called Corona. And so I want to know, Pastor Jack, just off the record, as a discussion, we want to know how is Corona, pandemic, whatever you want to call it, crisis. I mean, there's stuff happening in Israel, there's war, there's stuff happening all over the world. How has that affected the world, and has it affected the world to extent that we can't go back to the old normal?
Well, that's a good question, Newton. To start off with, a difficult question, because I think people think in South Africa we're the only nation that's affected by change, but the world's changing. You mentioned Israel there. Israel's going through a war. Europe's going through economical crisis with Britain leaving and the EU, and Russia's mobilizing, China's mobilizing. There's wars being planned, or the Bible speaks about that. So there's change happening. And I don't think that the world's ever going to go back to normal, depending on what you call normal.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting to see where we end up.
Definitely. Mac, we're talking about this old normal, and would we go back? What kind of change has it had on the church?
Yeah.
In terms of how we do things at church?
Well, I can only speak for what I see in our church and what I read, but I think the church has been challenged in a major way to say, well, do we want to go back to the old normal? And was the old normal effective? And is God maybe challenging us to say we need to think out of the box when it comes to being innovative and to believe that God's in us even through all these things that are happening in the world. So I think that's the challenge that the church is facing.
So I hear what you're saying. So are you saying we need to change the way church does things?
Well, let me answer that, Mac, that's a good question. Let me answer it and say that I don't believe that the church should ever change its mandate. And its mandate has always been Matthew 28:18-20, where Jesus called his disciples and he said to them, all power has been given to me, or authority. Go into all the world and preach the gospel. I'm just paraphrasing it. Teach people to obey the things I've told you. Baptize people, and lo, I'm with you all until the ends of the earth. So that's a mandate that the church was given. Doesn't matter where you are. But I think what we are challenged with is not our mandate, because that's can't be flexible. We have to preach that. But it's our methodology that we have to change. And so the methodology is not the holy grail of the church. The mandate is. The holy grail meaning you can't mess with that. That's what Jesus said we need to do. But he never told us exactly how to carry that mandate out. And that's why I believe that today is the challenge, that we need to challenge our methodology of how we carry that mandate, because things have changed. In other words, I think about how can we be more effective in carrying out our mandate. That's our methodology. The way we did things before, can we do them better? And I think to myself, everybody says the world's moved on, whatever that means.
Yeah.
So I say, well, if we're wanting to reach the world, are we prepared to move on in how we, not in our message, but in the way we carry our message, our methodology?
Does that mean should the church compromise?
No, I don't believe we should ever compromise our message. Doesn't matter how far the world moves, but we can definitely be flexible in how we change our methodology, which is the way we do things. And I'm reminded of, I think it's 1 Corinthians 9 verse 22, when Paul writes and he says, I've become all things to all men, that by all possible means I may save some. So Paul was willing to say, he was set in his ways as a Christian. He was a very disciplined person and, of course, a well-known apostle. He said, I'm willing to change in all ways possible so that I can try everything possible to reach some people. Now, we're never going to reach everybody, but we can reach some people if we are willing to change our methodology, the way we do things, the way we present the gospel. Because the world are no longer, I think of an example. Many years ago, we built a building. We said we're going to have church, or we're going to have, which is another, Pastor Charles challenged us on Sunday to say, we are the church, but we're going to go to a building, we're going to listen to a message, and then we're going to feel good about our faith. But now in lockdown, we are challenged to say, well, maybe we can't come to the building. How are we going to get the message out? How are we going to reach people that maybe are now stranded and out there saying, I can't come to your building? And are we still going to stand on our soapboxes like we did 100 years ago and shout something and say, this is how we preach the gospel? Or are we willing to change our methodology to reach people where they are? Are we willing to move to where they are?
Yeah,
I think that's the challenge.
And if I'm somebody going, I'm just hearing the word change a lot, change.
Yes.
Is change necessarily a bad thing?
No. I think change is a bad thing if you don't believe that it's got value to add in your life. The moment you don't believe it's got value to add in your life, you don't want to change. It's like, if somebody says to me, do you want to jump off a bridge with a bungee cord? And everything in me says, I don't want to do it. And then you say, you better change. I'm not going to change because I got fear. Because I'd say, I don't like jumping off a bridge with a bungee cord. But if I love doing that, and you say, we're going to give you the opportunity, then of course, everything in me says, I love change. I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
So it depends how people see it.
But I think whether you like it or not, change is not something we as humans like very much.
Yeah.
No.
And so
Or
it's
can
difficult
control
to,
always.
Yes.
No, we can't. And so it becomes difficult for people to actually deal with change. And I think it's a case of actually dealing with the change instead of going against the change.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think to me, that when I look at the church, we probably challenged more than anybody else because we are also an institution. I'm talking about the church in general that have done things very much the same for years and years, not because we necessarily believe they were the right way to do things. Our methodology hasn't always changed. Our mandates never changed because it shouldn't. But we haven't been challenged to change our methodology in the past. So we just did things the same way. But I think this is a good opportunity that God is saying now's a chance for the church to change in how they carry out their mandate. And are they willing to do so? And I'm quite excited because it is a bit scary because you're doing things that you've never done before. And there's nothing like the unknown to bring fear.
Yeah.
So I think if for me it's exciting being a follower of Christ and just wanting to impact and reach people. This is probably the best time to be alive and be at church because there's so many innovative ways to do things these days. And so for me, I like that. I like the fact that let's change the things that church was doing normally and be more creative, be more innovative. There's tools out there that we can use that the world are using. Why can't we use them as the church, And I think for a long time, we always said, well, let the world use what they want to. We're going to do things like we know we want to do them.
Yeah.
But now we're forced to say, hey, we need to reach more people and we need to be more effective in reaching people for Christ. And so there's innovative tools out there that we can use. And I'm excited for that.
Well, I hear that. But now how do you encourage some people out there going, you know what? I don't come to church anymore because so much has changed and I don't like change and I don't think I'll be comfortable with what's happening. So how would you encourage them to still be excited about church because they don't like change?
Well, I think when you speak to people about the church and they are the church, they must bring the change. And so they have to understand that God is depending on them. Jesus said, I'll build my church. And they are the church. And if they want to be by the action, they have to be where God's building something. And of course, fear is a factor because it's the unknown. But then faith is the antidote to fear. If we come with faith to church saying God's doing something, I don't understand it. It's different. It's new. But I believe that God's building his church. I want to be part of it. Then we will be able to say, I can bridge that gap and say, I can put fear away because I've got faith that God said he was building his church and he said he's going to use me. And so I need to go with that faith in my heart or come with that faith in my heart. And that also brings me to, people need to go and be the church and they need to be around the church, because that's where the action is. When people say to me, I don't need the church to serve God, I say, well, show me a scripture where it says that you don't have to be the church anywhere in the Bible, because Jesus said, I'm building my church. So if you're not part of the church, you're not part of the building. So it's not a physical place, but it's definitely who you are and who you're representing. So I think that's why I hang around where the people that say they're the church, because that's where the action's going to happen. And even in the midst of a pandemic, even in the midst of economic hardships that the church has faced, and I mean, in years past, the church faced persecution. And they were challenged to say, they're going to persecute, you're going to gather, even in Jesus' time. What did the church do? They rose and said, no, we are the church. And we're going to gather, and we're going to make a difference. So, we can't allow ourselves to be scared away because the world's changing. We have to find a better way, to find a better method to carry out the mandate that God's given us as the church.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you.
Well, we at LWC, Living Word Church, we started LWC Radio. And it's been an exciting journey, and it's been an exciting adventure me and Mac have taken on and as hosts, and not easy.
Yeah.
It's been quite challenging, and we have Lebo at the back there, who's our camera guy.
I know you guys
After every episode, we have Lebo say, yes, but you guys should have said it like this. And so
Lebo's getting his chance today.
Lebo's getting his chance today. And so, it's a lot easier said than done. And
it is.
When it's actually different to how you actually bring it across.
I know, because and when you watch it at home, you're thinking, oh, you guys have it easier. You can just be so natural, but it really is not that natural.
So are we saying, guys, that we're going to get Lebo unplugged?
Yes.
Unplugged, yeah. Lebo unplugged.
Unplugged off the record.
Yeah, and it's coming. You just got to wait a bit. We're going to get there.
We're going to get to Lebo.
We're speaking about change, and one of the changes Living Word Church made was to be more relevant.
Yeah.
And get out there and change things up. And so that's where LWC Radio was born, off the record. That's where it was born. And we're sitting here as a group of friends and as hosts, and we're trying to say, listen, what's the next thing we can do to say, how can we reach people?
Yes.
How can we reach people with the gospel in a relevant way? Talk about topics that aren't being spoken about in church. I mean, people come to church and the pastor just gives them what he wants them to hear.
Information.
And often you don't get time to ask the pastor, listen, I want to know more about that. And so that's where LWC Radio was born and created. And so talking about change, it's such a big thing.
Yes. And I want to say, we encourage you watching online, any topics you want to suggest, put it on the comments below. We'd love to know what you guys are thinking, what it is that you want us to discuss.
Before we get there, Mac, let's, with LWC, we've now recorded a few weeks.
Yeah.
We've got into the thing. I want to know from Lebo, who's our cameraman behind.
Yes.
We're just going to get a quick...
Unplugged.
You've got the mic there, Lebo.
Yeah.
Give us your thoughts on your journey with LWC Radio and how it's gone. Let us know.
Oh man, hello to the viewers at home. It is such a privilege. Thank you, Newton. Thank you, Pastor Jack. Thank you, Mac. It's such an honor and a privilege, guys, to be part of this team. When we come here, sometimes early morning, it's so cold in here, and we have to set up stuff and prepare. But overall, Living Word Radio is the real thing right now. So you guys, you don't want to, you want to watch the second episode. The coming episode. It's going to be better than what it is. So I'm really
we're learning, Lebo.
We're learning. And thank you so much.
Lebo didn't know where the record button was, so we had to teach him.
And we had to teach him how to put red lights on so he knows when it's working.
That's true. That's true.
Lebo, that's his position. So if you always wanted to know where Lebo stands, that's where he stands. That's his position. He's our moving camera operator and sound operator and just overall helper.
Yes. And what an amazing job. I mean, Lebo, you are actually operating 4 different cameras, and know they might not see that on the screen, but you're doing an amazing job. Yeah, well done.
So there's a bit of insight into LWC Radio. You get a bit behind the scenes, have a look at our assistant, and just an exciting journey, Pastor Jack, how LWC Radio has just gone on this journey, and how it's overcome things that we never knew were there. It's overcome change. I think it's been a big change and an adjustment for you as a pastor to have this talk show and talk
Yes.
differently about
Yeah.
different subjects. How has it impacted you, and what have your thoughts on it?
Well, I think I can only speak for myself, but I think how it's impacted me is to think out of the box, to say church is more about than just a sermon or a message you want to convey. Not that they are wrong. Church is about being a real person and displaying to people your way of living and even your thoughts, and not being defensive if people disagree with you, because no leader really likes people disagreeing. Even if they say, I don't care, they do care. But getting used to saying, that's really a healthy thing. And just hearing people, I've had a few unkind comments recently, and I was so excited because people were giving me such kind comments. And I thought, what really shapes you is criticism. And so it took a long time for people to criticize me. Now I suppose it'll come fast and furious. But it's just to know that God is not a defensive God. He's a loving God, and that our message should always, as Pastor Charles told us on Sunday so aptly, whatever we do, our message should always be conveyed with love. Even if people totally disagree. And I think this platform has helped me to see things from a different angle and to listen to the audience. And maybe to also speak off the record, because sometimes pastors feel they can't speak off the record because people expect certain ways from them in their methodology. They need to wear certain clothes, speak in a certain way on a Sunday, greet people in a certain way. And then so they put us in a box too as leaders. And now we can break out of that box and say the holy grail of church is not the methodology. It's not my suit. It's my mandate is not changed. I still want, like everybody, to affect the world through the message of Jesus Christ. I just think there are different ways, and the world's forcing me personally to change. And so are you and Mac and everybody else, because the world's changing. And if I want to reach the world, I need to see where they are so that I can carry out my mandate, which hasn't changed.
Yeah.
So, it has challenged me. And sometimes I even said to God, after, so many years, 30 years plus in ministry, I feel like a novice. I feel like I should go back to Bible school, wherever that is, and learn all sorts of things, because I'm totally behind in many things. But I'm also trusting God that I can change on the job and I can affect my thinking. But I sometimes feel like a total novice, to be honest.
Yeah.
And out of my
Well,
depth.
LWC Radio is a privilege to have you, Pastor Jack, and it's a privilege to get
been
your
amazing.
wisdom and insights and just off the record conversations. And so that's what LWC Radio is about. And as we were talking about change today, we've got an exciting news announcement to make for LWC Radio, and that's announcement. Mac, give us a drum roll.
Is that the best you can do, Mac? Without drums.
Yes, Mac, and you call yourself a drummer.
Keenan, if you're watching, call us.
We need a new drummer. And LWC has got an exciting announcement, and that's that LWC is going to be ending season 1. We are completed.
Yay!
Well done, Mac.
Well done, Newton.
It's not to say that
What does that mean?
LWC
What does that mean?
Radio is gone. LWC Radio is going to change.
Yes.
Does that mean we're going overseas?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan. Maybe we should start it there in Bali.
From an island,
Yeah.
from an island
I think
somewhere.
that's going to be
Off
the
the
thumbnail
record,
of
let's
this
not
video.
go to India, please.
So we're going through a change at LWC Radio. We're going to spruce things up. We're going to be changing the scenery a bit. We're going to be changing our topics, our guests, and we're excited for you to be part of it.
Yes.
And so the most important thing, and that's that we want to get your feedback.
Yes.
Yeah.
We want to know in the comments if you've got a suggestion for LWC Radio. Maybe it's a guest that you would love to see on the radio.
Yes.
Let us know. Let us know maybe what type of topics you would like to hear.
Yes.
What type of guests you would like to hear. Or just give us a thumbs up and say, we really like LWC Radio. And we hope that LWC Radio has encouraged you over the last 13 weeks, Mac, 13th episode.
Wow.
I hope that it's encouraged you. It's given you a bit of something to listen to, something to just say, hey, I can have some time out and just enjoy it.
Yeah.
And we're excited for the next season, season 2.
Season 2.
LWC Radio. So exciting. Lebs, why are you excited? What's happening for season 2 for you?
New guests, fresh, relevant stuff. Yeah.
Those of you watching, let us know if you want to see more of Lebo
Yes.
in season
In season
2.
two, yes.
We want to know what your thoughts are in the comments below. And exciting. Are you
It's gonna be
excited? Matt?
exciting.
What is your thoughts?
Well, I think it's been an incredible journey, and I cannot wait to see what God has in store for us in season 2. But mostly for you guys to just grow with us as we grow. Like Pastor Jake says, we're all learning to adapt. So I can't wait to grow, and I think it's going to be amazing. I can't wait for you to grow. I can't wait to see what kind of guests sitting there. And I'm still waiting for you, Elon Musk. You met him? I told you
Musk.
now.
We're going to get him
So
one
we're
day.
gonna get him. Since we're going overseas, we must get his address. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's all about
Yeah.
what you guys think, and we appreciate every comment you say. And I cannot wait for you guys to join us on this amazing journey. So,
Pastor Jack, what
Yeah.
are your
Well, I'm
thoughts?
so
You know,
far
just,
behind. I'm so far behind. I didn't even know we were in season 1. Now we're going to season 2. So I'm
we are
working out.
changing so quickly.
Yeah.
So that's
We're
great.
already in season
What
2.
I want to challenge people is we've got a slogan outside our church that says, "Be the change."
Yeah.
And I want to encourage each one listening, including myself, to say to ourselves, "Be the change."
Yeah. We need to be the change. And
Amen.
LWC Radio is going to be the change. And
Yes.
so we'll keep you updated. We'll let you know when the season 2 starts. And we're just so excited about it already. We're already talking about it. We're already planning it. And we're excited for it. So, yeah, let us know in the comments if you've got any ideas, suggestions. We'd love to know.
If it's a free holiday, we're definitely going to take that suggestion.
yeah,
Any bad suggestions, we'll just mute them.
we'll mark it off the record.
No, we're just joking. We're just joking. Off the record. Off the record.
Yeah, we everything here is off the record,
Yes,
so it
okay.
doesn't matter.
Okay.
We
Cool.
taking it to the next week. So we'll see you when we see it. Have
Very
we
soon.
covered everything?
Yes.
Is
Yeah.
that everything? Was that
Yeah.
all the details? Lebo,
Yeah.
anything else that you want to just chip in there that while you can, while
Lebel's-
you've got the
Lebel's
mic?
got the giggles now because
Yeah.
he's been made unplugged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm just excited for season 2. Can't wait for what's coming.
Yes.
That's all I can say. Hey, guys, you don't wanna miss season
Yeah.
2.
Yes.
Yeah.
Season 2.
Oh yeah.
Coming straight to you soon on YouTube.
LWC Radio.
Yeah. Let us know. Actually, one of the things I want to know, and I know we've said a lot of things that the people have to comment, but it's not about us.
Yeah.
It's about you watching. And so
Yes.
that's why we're giving you the opportunity to actually comment. And
Yes.
one of the things is let us know, where do you watch LWC Radio from? Is it from your phone? Is it from your TV? Is it from your car on the way to work? What time of the day? Is it at night? Let us know. We'd love to know. It helps us with insights.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
Mac, well
Yes.
done.
Well done, Newton.
Pastor Jack, well done.
Well done, Newton. Well
Lebo.
done, Mac. Lebu.
Well done.
Well
High
done.
five.
And you watching at home,
Yes.
Yeah.
well done. High five
Yes.
to you.
High five.
And we'll
God bless
catch
you.
you on season
Season
2.
2.
Soon.
Be blessed. Cheers.
Bye.
Yes.